Well, welcome back, everyone. And I'm telling you, this is getting ridiculous, everybody. How much longer do we have to wait to get some hockey around here? This is just getting out of hand, guys. Listen, we are inching ever so closely to training camps opening up. So I figured this was a perfect time for us to dive into the Maine Mariners season schedule, see what it looks like, also take a quick peek at the roster breakdown to date. Guys, let's get after it. Let's go. It was just today the team announced their two-game preseason schedule, both against Worcester, opening Friday night, October 10th in Worcester, 7 p.m. puck drop there, followed by Saturday night here, actually, I say here in Portland, here in Biddeford at the Harold Alphon Forum at the University of New England campus. It's a 6 p.m. Free admission game, so if you're looking for something fun for the kiddos to do, great chance to go check out some really great pro hockey on a really beautiful campus and beautiful barn to watch a game in. So obviously the Mariners have built a great relationship with UNE with the data science project they've got going. So great to see that there. Of course, last season they had a free game up in Bowdoin. But yeah, that's what they have for your preseason schedule. As we already know and have marked very highlighted on our calendar at this point, October 18th is opening night for your Maine Mariners. This is, of course, against Worcester, down in Worcester on the road. Their home schedule does open the following night. That's October 19th, a Saturday against Reading. So two really important dates to mark on your calendar. Should be a very, very fun weekend. Now, if you're looking for your best opportunity to go to a game this season or go to a couple of games, this is how the home calendar kind of breaks out month to month. October, you have 3 opportunities. November, you've got 4. December, you've got 5 games on the calendar at the Cross. January is the heaviest month with 9, so dead of winter, great opportunity to get to the arena. You've got 9 opportunities there. February, only 3. Back on the road for an extended time there in February, a lot like last season. March, you have 8. April, you have 4. And of course, that's through the middle of April. And we obviously are hoping that there's a nice long playoff run that follows after that. Looking at divisional rivals, of course, we know this is a heavy divisional calendar for every ECHL team. This is how it breaks down. You've got 14 games against Worcester, 6 against Reading, 5 against Wheeling, up a little bit from a year ago, 14 against Adirondack, you got 8 against Norfolk, 14 against Trois-Rivières, of course, the Kelly Cup champions, and 2 against Greensboro, of course, the new team to the ECHL this year in the North Division. Those games are at home March 28th and 29th, so those could be a pretty nice ticket to get. Go check out the new club. Of course, we know over the next couple of years, we have 2 more teams coming in, Augusta, Georgia, and down there in New Mexico to make it a 32-team league. Will be great to see those divisions leveled out across the board. Should be fun. Listen, we know this is not the NHL. We know that travel budgets are tight, all that kind of stuff. Schedules are tight. But I've never really been a huge fan of the imbalanced schedule. I mean, 14 against Trois, 14 against Adirondack, 14 against Worcester. It's like, man, could you throw me a Kansas City in there? Could you throw me a little Cincinnati, a little something, a little Tahoe? I mean, I don't know. Listen, I get it. I'm not going to complain. Great to have pro hockey, but it does get a little bit that Harlem Globetrotter versus Washington feel where you just kind of play in the same team every night. You get a little bit of that feel. Totally get it. Before you come after me, I know why they do it this way. I know why they have to do it this way. I'm just saying, it'd be great if there was a little more money in there for travel. But you know what, man? It is what it is. We're going to live with it. If you're looking for those out-of-conference games, some of those more fun games, some of those teams we don't often see, you do have one other opportunity here at home. Orlando is coming up here to Maine. This will be early February 4th, 6th, and 7th. So get to see the Orlando Solar Bears. Couple other road trips following there in February. The team is going to Florida to play the 3-time Kelly Cup champion Florida Everblades. not defending anymore because, of course, Troyes has that one under their belt, but they will be in Florida on February 11th, 13th, and 14th. So hopefully the boys can get a little beach time, get a little sun there, middle of February. Yeah, Valentine's Day in Florida, so good for them. And then they also travel to Bloomington. Maybe not quite as tropical that time of year as Florida will be, but they'll be there February 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So some key dates to be watching for there on the calendar. If theme nights are your thing, and they are a lot of fun, I think the Mariners do a great job with their theme nights. They have a very vibrant schedule out this season. Of course, you can find that full schedule at marinersofmaine.com website. Go check it out. Here's some of the highlights, though, from their theme nights. November 2nd, that's a Sunday. They've got Military Night. The Teddy Bear Toss, one of the most popular nights on the calendar. That is December 6th. That's a Saturday night. Pirates Night. This is going to be Saturday, December 13th. Hockey Fights Cancer. Very important night for so many families. Friday, January 16th. Pirates Night number 2. They did add one, everybody. January 17th, if you're looking to get into that. Star Wars Night. Very popular one, January 23rd. The school day game where schools can come and check out a game. That's going to be Tuesday, March 10th. That's a 10:30 in the morning start. And then Women in Sports is Sunday, March 22nd. So great chance to celebrate all those women working in professional sports. Like I said, this is just kind of the big highlights. Go check out that calendar if you're looking for a cool theme night to take your family to. Looking at road trips this year, doesn't seem like it's quite as bad as prior year. There are no 2 a.m. starts in South Dakota this year, which I know the team is really going to appreciate. They do have that 8-game stretch in February from the 11th to the 28th where they're going to be gone. And then there's a 6-game stretch in November with a schedule a little bit light at home from November 8th to the 21st when they're not at home. So that's kind of how that looks. And of course, the regular season wraps up on the 12th. It is a home game. I say April 12th. That's a home game against Norfolk. That's a 3 p.m. start. So hopefully we're wrapping that up and going right to the playoffs after that. We'll see how it goes. But that's kind of what the calendar looks like. I know structure has to be part of it for the ECHL. They can't really deviate too terribly much from this kind of formula that they have. It is too bad that we can't get more out of division or out of conference games. We'll see what the economics look like as the years go on. As I've talked to, Dexter about this, and I've talked to others kind of off camera about, trying to get more regionalized teams. We know there's quite a debacle there in Manchester, New Hampshire, why there's not a team there. There's a lot of reasons for that. I've always looked at Fredericton, New Brunswick. I think would be an awesome spot to get some other clubs here, but it is what it is. So we're getting closer, though, under 2 months from puck drop. And, of course, the NHL will be starting probably about 2 weeks before that. So plenty of hockey coming up. Cannot wait. So let's shift gears. Let's take a look at the roster so far. Listen, we know there's still a lot of work to do for Coach Kowalski and the group. But here's where we're at so far. We've got 8 forwards signed so far. Captain Willem DeVoe, of course, played 66 games a year ago, 19 goals, 12 assists for 31 points for him. Robert Cronin coming back, 13 games he played for the team last season, 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points in a short stint. Of course, UNH Wildcat seemed like a very good fit when he came in, brought some good energy, so exciting to see him back. Jackson Stewart, 27 total games played between Bloomington and Maine, no points. I think he's still looking for his first pro point, so he's back on the team. Returning Xander Lampa, 65 games a year ago for him, 11 goals, 20 assists for 31 points. Linus Hemstrom back with the team as well, 55 games between Bloomington and Maine, 3 goals, 11 assists for 14 points. Sebastian Wittmar, 72 games, played the whole season, came on late as well in terms of some of his goal scoring, 13 goals, 16 assists for 29 points. Alex DePaulo, 10 games for the club, had the 4 assists. Of course, he came out of Colgate. Very good college career for himself. I'm kind of excited about this kid, see what he can do from a scoring perspective. I think he can maybe figure some things out. I think he's got some real good potential. Jacob Hudson also returning 61 games a year ago, 15 goals, 23 assists for 38 points, played a very important role for the team last year. I think he's going to be even more important this season. Only 2 defensemen on the roster so far. Tristan Thompson, back with the club, 61 games in total a year ago. That's including 22 games there in France, but he had a total of 4 goals, 34 assists for 38 points. Of that, 39 of those games were played for Maine, where he had 1 goal, 24 assists for 25 points, added another 13 points there in the 22 games over in France. And second defenseman Jackson Bellamy signed as well. He's coming out of St. Mary's University, where he played last year. New Brunswick kid, 6'4", 205 pounds, has a little meat on his bones. So, yeah, they still have plenty of roster spots to fill there, but so you have 10 skaters and the 2 goaltenders. Of course, returning Brad Arvanitis got into 23 games, very patiently got into 23 games a year ago, 2.97 goals against average and an .899 save percentage. The team also recently signed Ethan Pearson, goalie out of Princeton, got into 17 games, 2.33 goals against and a .913 save percentage. So that does beg the question, what else are we going to see on this roster? We go back to early July. We had 6 players signed to qualifying offers. None of those have become official yet. I did reach out to the club just before coming on, and there's really no news to talk about when it comes to these 6 guys. But we have Liam Gorman, Lennon McCallum, huge player for the team a year ago, Christian Sarlo as well. Defensively, Corey Dennis, James Maroney, and Michael Underwood. All players that, I would like to see all 6 of them back. I think they all played a pretty good role here. McCallum was so big. That Patty Gay trade that was made, he'll lose a great kind of skater and Gay, but McCallum came in, a little more of a physical presence, goal scoring, really just fit to the style. We'd love to see him back. Again, no updates to share right now, but hopefully we'll see some, if not all of these guys back on the roster. See what happens. Of course, we do talk about the AHL as well, and we've bemoaned it a year ago where the team didn't get a lot of help from Providence. The help they did get was often kind of injured, or a couple guys went off to Europe and kind of hurt the club a little bit. It was really, really challenging. I still remember the game against South Carolina. I think we had 2 AHL contracts, both goalies, and they had 12. It was just a bloodbath. It was just an absolute bloodbath. So there's a lot of chatter right now that we're going to get a lot more help from Providence. I think for a couple reasons. I think what's going on in Boston, that Providence, I think, is going to be very loaded coming out of camp. And again, guys, we don't know yet. Camp isn't open yet. We're not going to know until Boston has their camp, until Providence has their camp, in terms of what Maine's going to end up with. But I think the balance of probability is that we're going to end up getting more help this year than we did last year. I also think that big word, that relationship word, that word that Dexter has used so much on this channel, talked to Coach Kowalski last week about that. He's got a good rapport with the guys up there in Providence, and the fact that Providence can now send players down to Maine knowing there's an AHL level coaching here in the ECHL and a guy with NHL coaching experience, I think that could go a long ways in Providence, just trusting Maine a little bit more. Not to take anything away from Wallen and what he was doing here, because I thought he did a good job too. But I just think that relationship is going to be improved, which it should be. So, of course, we don't know what it's going to look like. But here are some names we can throw out there, some AHL guys that maybe, just maybe, we see come down the road here to Portland. Starting with forward Ty Shoveldayoff. Of course, a player that played here briefly a couple seasons ago, signed with Maine, then ended up getting that AHL contract. Well, turns out he ended up spending the bulk of the season in Jacksonville. 66 games for him, 6 goals, 13 assists for 19 points. So, I don't know. I think that there's more meat on that bone for Ty. I would have expected maybe some better numbers, but he's signed there with Providence. We'll see if what the room looks like and how his camp goes. Maybe we see him here back in Maine. I think he'd be a welcome addition. Of course, Mariners leading scorer, Brooklyn Kalmakoff. Great news for him getting that AHL contract. I personally hope we don't see him here because I'd love to see this guy just take off. I think he's got just a ton of talent. Could we use him here in Maine? Absolutely. I mean, we would love him back here. He was so important to the group a year ago. I'm certainly cheering for him to just keep going, earn a middle six role someplace there in Providence. We'll see, but a name to keep in mind. Another name from the team a year ago, defenseman Zach Massicott. Another guy that he came in really late last year, just as camp was ending, and really just played a huge role defensively for the club. He earned that contract. Great to see that. Another guy, I hope he can earn that right to stay there in Providence, but would be a welcome addition back as well. A couple other names to keep in mind here, guys. Erik Middendorf. Of course, forward, played in South Carolina, that loaded South Carolina team a year ago. 21 goals, 33 assists, 454 points. Got into 67 games. Listen, guys, if Providence is crowded, do we happen to see him? I mean, I don't know. I think we're all wishing and hoping we do. He'd be one heck of a fit here. We'll see how that goes, but certainly a name to keep in mind. And then defenseman Colin Felix. He has 3 years between the ECHL and the AHL, and is another one of those guys where if it gets a little crowded on that blue line up there, maybe he comes down here. We'll see. Just a couple of names to keep in mind. There were a couple other names that were listed on the Providence roster going back to the spring, and trust me, I have no idea where these guys are or if they're even part of the organization anymore. You look up information right now. There's a lot of incomplete reports and guys that just have no updates on them, but defenseman Jake Schmaltz, University of North Dakota kid, played in 4 games for Providence a year ago. He's a 2019 7th-round pick of the team and is cousins to both Jordan and Nick Schmaltz of the NHL. Don't know where he is. Looked him up. I couldn't see any real updates as to where he is, if he'll be in camp or not, but a name to keep in mind. And then another goalie, and I'm going to try to pronounce his name correctly, Joe Sharib, Union College. He was given an ATO, an amateur tryout last season in April with the Bruins, with the Providence Bruins, I should say. Still showing up on some lists, but again, no idea where he is. I don't think he has any sort of professional contract signed. Again, just names to keep on the radar. And let's talk about Europe. We're going to talk about Europe because Coach Kowalski brought it up when he came on the podcast last week, mentioning that some players had actually been reaching out to him who had been in Europe, expressing interest to come back. Who could we have over in Europe that maybe has a tie to Kowalski, that maybe wants to come back to Maine? How about we get ourselves a little bit of Jimmy Lambert? How about Jimmy Lambert? Of course, he had the hat trick a year ago and then goes off to Europe. Did play with Coach Kowalski in Bridgeport in the American League back in 2022-2023. So I have no inside information on this, but I'm just kind of putting the simple Legos together here. There's a prior relationship. If someone like Jimmy Lambert isn't happy over there and wants to come back, I mean, come on back, man. He was such a great fit and a huge loss when he went to Europe. I'm just going to say I'm predicting it. I bet we see Jimmy Lambert back in Maine with Coach Kowalski, playing first, second line minutes here with the Mariners. That's somebody I'd love to see back here on the club. A couple other names to keep in mind. What about Carter Johnson, a guy who's been here a couple of different seasons, went to the EIHL after playing here for half a year? I can't remember now how many games. I know he had the concussion early in the season, really threw his season kind of off track. A guy I had a chance to talk to a couple of times, really generous with his time, one of the leaders on the team. It was a little disappointing when he took off. He wasn't a big goal scorer, but was really good in the face-off circle. And again, one of those kind of leadership voices in the room. I think you're at the point, though, where if you're going to have that leadership voice, you want to stick around, right? If you're going to give him that leadership role, put the A on his sweater, make sure he sticks around. We'll see. We'll see if he's a name that comes back. I'd love to see him back. And then we've got Justin Bean, who just, signed in Europe, had signed here earlier this summer and went off to Europe. Is he a name that wants to come back? Maybe he has some regrets. I have no idea. Again, zero inside information. Nobody's given me any information on this. This is just me at the end of summer jonesing for some hockey to talk about. So we're going to talk some hockey. Yeah, let's see what happens. Again, Coach brought it up that players have been reaching out to him from Europe, and I think we may see maybe one, maybe two of these guys come back. Any thoughts from you guys out there? Leave those comments down below. Any names that I'm not thinking of that you would like to see back that maybe have played here before or have gone off to Europe. Leave those comments down below. Would love to hear from you guys on that. Yes, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come on this roster. There's going to have to be, as Coach Kowalski gets settled in here to Portland. So more to come. And if you haven't checked out my interview with Coach from last week, please do so. He was a fantastic guy to talk to. I could have sat there and listened to his stories for days. He had story after story after story. I think you guys are going to absolutely love him. He's going to bring that energy, enthusiasm to the bench. Should be an exciting season. And listen, stay tuned this week as well for my next videos. On Wednesday, I'm going to be releasing a video around lessons I learned from my childhood with an alcoholic father. Not an easy topic, I admit that. Too many families are dealing with this issue. Hopefully somebody out there can find some value in what I have to say on this topic. And then on Friday, I'll be releasing my interview with Dr. Kevin McGovern. He's a physical therapist out of Massachusetts. We're going to talk about do's and don'ts for those school athletes heading back to school and college here in the fall, things to be watching for there. So if you have a little one that's playing youth sports or high school kid or college kid and you have some questions or some concerns, please check that out. I'm going to be putting that out on Friday. So listen, guys, thank you for watching and listening tonight. I do appreciate it. If you're already subscribing to the channel, thank you. I appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, thank you for checking this out. If you want to keep up to date on all these upcoming shows, hit that subscribe button down below. Helps the channel out so much. And until next time, everybody, be kind, show love, and God bless.